They've been definitely difficult. They've been challenging because I've never had a surgery before. I never had like that long of an injury. The most I've sat out is maybe a week or a couple weeks, but definitely very challenging. But I think I learned a lot about myself and tried to stay positive.
What were the emotions like going back to Seattle the night it happened? And then, I know you guys knew it was going to be kind of a long road, but even by that next morning, just take us through that weekend, I guess.
Yeah, it was tough. When it all happened, I started cramping immediately when I broke it. Went on a bench, didn't really understand. Stood up, it was really hurting bad. Then I realized that, I've never had that pain before, and that pain was a little bit different than any other pains I've had. And obviously, after the game, went to the plane, broke down a little bit because I kind of had a feeling that it wasn't going to be good news once we got to Lexington, and that happened to be. But and I was really scared of surgery. I'm not gonna lie, because I've never had one. I've never been under, how do you call it when they put you to sleep or whatever. Yeah, so it was pretty nerve-wracking.
When was the decision made that you weren't going to be coming back this season? Was it strictly health, or did it get to the point of, like, of course, the redshirt year, those kind of things? When was that decision? When was that made, and how was that process done?
Yeah, it was. Honestly, it was complicated because, obviously, I heard that I have that chance, but I wanted to come back. That was the number one goal for me, especially with these guys. And I think I've said it before, but I really wanted to be here with this group of guys. So that was the first thing for me. But when I started doing rehab, I didn't want to. When I saw that it wasn't probably going to be happening, then I didn't want to risk it. Meaning, I wanted to be 100% healthy coming back. I didn't want to be 80%. I didn't want to be 70%. But yeah.
How was it adjusting? You're an energy guy. Coach Pope talks about you've led the pregame speeches. You've made schedules for that. How hard was it for you watching when some guys were thrown into some roles that was maybe supposed to be meant for you if injuries happened, and people? How was that to kind of have to sit and go through that?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you would want to be out there with your brothers, but I kind of looked at it like from the side. How can I help not playing? Like for me, it was really cool to see the steps that TP was taking and has taken game by game. He's gotten more comfortable and better, and so it's like. Obviously you want to be out there, but on the other hand, you can't be out there, and you don't want to bring negative energy to the team, obviously, and you don't want to be a distraction. So you want to help as much as you can.
Going back to the kind of that process, did it get to a point where you were going to have to maybe push it harder than was,
Yeah.
But even beyond that, like maybe push it harder than it would have been worth doing to try to, like you said, maybe not get to 100%.
Sorry, what do you mean?
Did it get to a point where you basically had to go beyond 100% as far as your ramp up to get?
I definitely I ramped it really up, and the feedback next day and days after, I started feeling it a little bit more, and it was something. This is something I don't want to play with. This is a surgery. This is not an ankle injury that you twist it and you'll be back in a week or two, or if it usually takes 2 weeks, I might get it in a week because it's just if it's a surgery, it's something that I don't want to mess with. And when I felt very uncomfortable and painful, I kind of had to take a step back and then revisit the situation and all that. So, but yeah, this is something I didn't want to play with.
Because you had lower leg stuff at Arizona, right?
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That was and that's also like I've never had a healthy March Madness. So it's my sophomore year, like in this Pac-12 freaking tournament, like last 10 seconds I break I have a very bad ankle injury, and then I had to push it through because I really wanted to play March Madness. And then the next year, again in Pac-12 tournament, I popped my shoulder out and play with a half shoulder. So it's I really want to be 100%, 120% in March Madness.
What have you thought about for next season? Do you know your plans beyond these next couple weeks?
All focus is really getting through tomorrow, getting through Sunday, hopefully day by day, keep this season going, and that's where my head is at.
Is a return to Kentucky on the table for you?
Like I just said, it's my focus is for 100% this year. I don't know nothing about next year. I don't even know if I come back to college. I don't know anything. All I know is that my foot wasn't good enough to play and risk. So I'll focus on that stuff later. That's not about me.
Thanks, Chris.
Yeah.
Pope kind of talked about the story of after Oklahoma, you celebrated with the team, had that big moment, and then you kind of had a breakdown. Just kind of your side of that story. Just what was that like, and just kind of the emotions crashing over you.
Oh yeah, I mean, I feel like in the moment, especially big game, heat of the moment, I couldn't just break down and show how distraught I was personally, but just more so worried about the team. It's a team sport. I know it comes first, and it's all about winning. And I mean, we came out with a huge win. It'll take you hit a huge shot, and I was really happy for him. But when I got to the locker room, it just kind of poured on me. So, it was tough, but I knew just had to kind of move on. We had a lot of bigger plans, so I mean, it is what it is.
How have you seen the team kind of adjust to the post Jackson Robinson era and learning to live without you on the floor?
I think it's been good. I mean, guys like Colin, Trent, Travis have all been stepping up, playing huge minutes for us. I think it's really good for them as far as their future careers.
How proud are you of them to be kind of a really difficult spot for them to be thrown into, and the way they have kind of adjusted with that?
Yeah, I mean, they've been huge. I've seen them put in the work all year, so it's no surprise to me or any of the rest of my teammates. I think it's really easy, and Coach Pope's starting to really gain a lot of trust with them. So I think it's really good for, like I said, their career in the long term.
When you get to the draft process, is there something fundamentally like you really want to work on specifically?
I would say just get my body right and just keep chipping away and learning defensively how to become a better player. That's about it.
And then on the other side of it, what do you think is your best selling point? Like, what are your best traits?
Obviously, my shooting, my ability just to create shots for myself, and then just trying to better myself in other areas of my game. Like I said, defense. I've really prided myself on defense this past year, so just trying to take steps forward in that area.
Do you have a favorite NBA team growing up?
Thunder fan. Yeah. I got old teammate on there now too, so it's good to cheer for them.
Just what is that timeline looking like for you to be able to get back into full workouts and be able to work out in front of teams?
Yeah, I start rehab April 17th, and then from there I'll just start to gradually get back into things. But the plan is to get back either right before or right after the combine.
So, knowing you going through the draft process last season, hearing feedback from the teams, and then kind of getting a full season of tape, like how do you feel like you have adjusted to what grown from what the scouts were telling you they wanted to see more out of you last cycle?
I think that over the career of me being in college, I have a great body of work just as far as improvements. I think I've showed throughout the 5 years that I've been in college that I've improved every year at the things that I've needed to improve on. So just continue to take those steps forward and just learn how to become a better basketball player. That's really it for me. And then obviously the season got cut short, but I think just the things I did this year definitely can't go unnoticed.
What is the team that drafts you getting in Jackson Robinson?
A player that just wants to get better, win basketball games, and be a great teammate.
Awesome, Jax. Thank you, man. March Madness, how crazy is it to be sitting in this chair right now?
Yeah, it's super crazy. I think about pretty much every year for the past 10 years I've been sitting in school watching Kentucky play in the March Madness. So that's just kind of surreal to be in this moment. Having the opportunity to go out and play in it tomorrow is something really special, and I'm super excited for.
What have you kind of learned over the course of the season and the roles that you've had to get to this moment that you're going to be able to step up and contribute on this big stage?
Yeah, I've learned a lot. Being able to learn from those guys like Lamont and Kerr and Jackson at a secondhand experience where they can kind of watch me play, watch me make mistakes, watch me do well, and talk to me about what I need to do there. But also I think just my confidence has grown, just knowing that I can go out there and compete with those guys and help our team get wins in big ways.
There's some speculation online about your hand. Is there anything with your hand going into this weekend? weekend?
No, we're all good there. I mean, there was, you have nicks and bruises come up, like especially in the SEC, pretty much every night. Just a little bit sore there for a few days, but we're good now. Yes, sir.
What have you learned about Troy and it's kind of the scout over the last couple of days with him?
Yeah, we've really emphasized how well they rebound the ball offensively. I think number 6 in the country in offensive rebounds right now. So that's going to be a big point of emphasis for us, is to block them out, get rebounds, hit and go get, like we do every single day. And then also protecting the ball. They're big off-ball steals guys. They have guys that kind of roam the floor and get steals that way. So I think protect the ball will be a big point of emphasis for us. And we know that they're really aggressive. Their guards, especially, are 3 guys that like to get downhill, play at the rim, shoot a lot of free throws. So guard legal will be important for us as well.
You've heard BBN over the last couple of years being in, here in the pressure of getting past the first weekend to, make a run that Kentucky fans haven't gotten to feel. Do you feel any of that? Do you does a team recognize some of the pressure on this team, or do you guys just kind of throw it in the garbage?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely pressure on it, but a lot of it is just induced by ourselves as well. Like you're here in March now, you want to go out and win every game, and we've got some veteran March Madness guys. Lamont has talked to us a lot about the first weekend being the hardest weekend, no matter where you're at. At San Diego State, that was his hardest weekend. So just being able to kind of realize that it's like that for a lot of teams out there, that we're not the only team feeling the pressure the first weekend, is good for us. But also when you've got Big Blue Nation, you want to really do well, play well for them. For me especially, I want us to get out of that first weekend, because I've been watching a lot of those heartbreaking defeats. So I think the pressure's there, but I think we're gonna go out there and play excited, play motivated by it.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
What's been the coach's message to y'all to be prepared for tomorrow and potentially the rest of the tournament?
Just focus on yourself, really. There's going to be a whole lot of outside noise, playing at Kentucky and then being in March Madness. Everyone's watching, everyone has something to say. So, you just got to focus on what you're doing and, just try and be the best version of yourself, because obviously teams are going to be saying the same thing, thinking the same thing. So you have to try and beat that.
How's the lip and how annoying has it been?
It's my lip getting better, swelling going down. It's annoying, but it's part of the game. It happens. So.
How long did it take for it to start going down, the swelling to go down?
Days, probably like 3 days, 4 days. Yeah.
So are you glad to have this time off before your next game after that game?
Yeah, I think it definitely needed it. Played back-to-back games, tough games. So just rejuvenating your body, but then still staying locked in mentally. That's big for us. So
they're one of the nation's leaders in steals. You guys had some turnover problems down the stretch in some games. How big is that? How big is that going to be tomorrow night?
It's going to be big. Just got to protect the ball. We go in every game saying the same thing, that we have to protect the ball and be tough with it. So I would say they're going to be aggressive and trying to jump lanes and back taps, all that stuff. So you just got to be aggressive but smart.
Knowing the history, just kind of Kentucky not going to a second weekend since 2019, the stats with the postseason, do you guys feel any of that pressure with the fan base or anything?
Nah, not at all.
What is the excitement of going into March Madness and wearing Kentucky across your chest in March Madness?
Yeah, I'm really excited. Every single game that we get to put the jersey on is exciting. It's a dream come true. And this year has just been amazing, and the fact that now we're here at the highest stage, and everyone performs in March. Everyone wants to perform in March, so I'm just happy and excited that I could do it, and I'm wearing a Kentucky jersey as well.
What were your memories of March Madness growing up as a kid? With it rolling the TV out in elementary school or whatever.
Yeah, it's just watching basketball all day, kind of like you said, watching it in school. Getting home and it's still some more games, so it's just when you're an athlete you love stuff like this, because from wake up to the time you go to sleep it's basketball, and then obviously that's when you start having dreams and aspirations to play at that level. And now that I'm here, it's a blessing, and never would have thought it'd be at Kentucky for real, but it's crazy.
What is the attitude like right now? Business-like, anxious, excited, butterflies, compared to today to tomorrow?
Business. Obviously, it's all business, but then you got to have some gratitude and just be thankful that you're in this situation. So, it's definitely all business, and I'm just excited to get out there.
Is there a fine line between having too much rest and rust, because you've had a week between games now?
It's hard to say. I would say in terms of like your wind and your fatigue, maybe. But if you're still locked in, like during those breaks, and you know what you have to do, and mentally you're still in the same space as if you were playing, I think you'll be fine. And I know we've been locked in, even though we've had some days off. Just in terms of just locking on personnel and staying in shape and doing what we have to do to make sure we have an advantage when we get out there.
Thanks for taking it. And just your excitement when you saw, the draw, Selection Sunday, just kind of the drama surrounding that.
Oh man, it's amazing. To be back in March Madness there's nothing like it ever, and so it's what we envision when you decide to commit and come to Kentucky, and it's going to happen for us, and so I was super excited, and we're ready to make some noise, man.
Does it feel different sitting in that stool now with Kentucky across your chest instead of any other schools?
Of course it does, man. Of course it does. It is it's like no other program in college basketball, and I think it's pretty special for us to be able to represent this just historic program and such a historic tournament, and we're ready to etch our names into some history as well.
Once the dust settled on Selection Sunday and the brackets and all that, digging into the film on Troy, what have you learned about them, and just how excited are you to kind of business approach going into tomorrow?
Yeah, we're super excited. I think the guys done a great job trying to be able to lock in and focus, a super high level these last couple of days in our prep. They're definitely a really good team. Any team. I've been through that mid-major life. You have to be an absolute killer, and to win one of those types of tournaments. And for them to do that, how talented of a team they are. And so they do a great job of getting downhill, getting to the paint, getting to the free throw line, and things like that. So one of our big keys will be just guarding legal and really trying to clean up the glass after we make a miss. So.
How do you think just the ups and downs of the season and SEC play and just the battles and bumps and bruises and all that? How do you think all of the hardship throughout the year to getting you to this point will help?
It helps a whole lot. I think. Everybody is battle tested with just their college career, but then even within this specific season, we've been through it together, and so I think that's a big part of it that'll help us, carry us into game to game, but also just 3-4 minutes to 3-4 minutes, segments within a game too. I think we know how to get the best out of each other, and we're excited to show that too.
Kentucky hasn't been to a second weekend since 2019. It's a lot of the pressure from the fan base especially. Do you feel any of that when when you go into something like this and just kind of the pressure of getting to the next weekend?
Yeah, of course everybody talks about it and everything like that, but for us the most important thing is one game at a time, and we know that. And you talk about people who've been here before, they understand how important this first game is as well too, and so it's all about being present and trying to turn towards each other in those type of moments, and be able to get the best out of what we can for focusing on what we need to do, and so I'm super excited to be able to do that tomorrow.
Awesome, Andrew. Thank you,
brother. Appreciate it.
Quick question. There's a lot of chat. I know you're not playing, but you played with it last year, the Wilson Evo ball. How do you all feel about playing with that? Like, do you think we need one ball for college basketball, or is it that different, or does it not? You don't even think about it.
It's different? Yo.
Oh, Ansley, you say it's different?
I don't think so.
Nah, it's just the way they do it here. It'd be so pumped up.
You guys used it.
You're right. It does have
we did use it at FDU, and I was perfectly fine with the ball. The ball itself is fine, but when it comes to the tournament, they just pump it up.
There's
way
a lot
too
of air.
much. Yeah.
It's really hard.
Yeah, so
you might break your finger if you
catch it wrong.
Yeah.
You hit the rim, it's gonna bounce.
But I like the ball itself.
Yeah, the ball itself.
Yeah, I like the ball
too.
I guess I'm not pumping it up as much as they are.
Yeah.
All right, I was just trying to get y'all's opinion on it because